Hey guys, so in this video we're going to go through, as I said out here, 14 different rocks. And what we want to go ahead and do is we want to classify these rocks and determine whether they're igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, or metamorphic rocks. And you should have this in front of you on a separate document called Rock Classification Key. And this is going to be super useful for us because we're going to start at step 1 and we're going to examine the rock. And this is going to tell us the steps that we need to go through to identify what type of rock we have. Alright, so I'm going to give you an example. We'll go through an example one together, and then from there you have 14 different rocks that you need to identify onto Google Classroom. Alright, so I'll probably just have you write I for igneous, S for sedimentary, and M for metamorphic. Make sure we're following those directions carefully. Alright, and I'm going to try to make sure that I keep this quick so I can get this onto one video and I don't have to make separate parts. Keep things a little bit easier for you guys to navigate here. Okay, so we'll start with one example right here. Alright, so I'm trying to get it to where it's nice in the light. So you can see my first observation, first of all, is that it's very dark, but it's also really sparkly. Alright, and if I know it's tough for you guys to tell, but all of these crystals actually look the same. Alright, they look like they're the same type of crystal, same type of mineral. And I'm also noticing too, as I move this around, that it looks like it has layering to it. Okay, what I mean by that is you can see how it looks like there's like stairs walking up, different layers to this rock, and it's sparkly throughout. Okay, so there's just a few observations I'm going to make. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to take a look at my chart, and we'll start with this step 1. It says, look at the composition of your rock. Do you see mineral crystals or sand? And I'm looking at this. I'm going to go ahead and say I definitely see crystals there. You can see the crystals reflecting the light. So I'm going to go ahead and say I see crystals there. So what we're going to go ahead and do, under step 1, it says, A, the rock has some mineral crystals or sand/pebbles. We said yes, that's true. There are mineral crystals. So now it says go to step 3. So we get to skip step 2, go right to step 3. It says determine what type of particles make up the rock. So it says the rock is made of translucent mineral crystals or the rock is made of pebbles or sand that are cemented together. Well, we already went ahead and said that it's made of crystals. Okay, translucent, that just means that they're kind of clear. Okay, so that was step 3. The rock is made of translucent mineral crystals. Next thing we need to do, it says go to step 4. All right, off we go. Determine if the mineral crystals form layers or bands. The mineral crystals do not form layers or bands in this rock, or the mineral crystals do form layers or bands in this rock. I'm looking at this. I said there were some layers that were being built here, right? You can notice how there's kind of creases right there. Over here there's some steps that we'd have to cross. So I'm going to go ahead and say this one is actually layered. So it did form layers. The mineral crystals do form layers or bands in this rock. It says this rock is metamorphic. So this guy right here is a metamorphic rock. All right. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to that was just how we need to go about using this key right here to help us identify the different rocks. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to try not to say much, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get each rock under the camera and I'll let you make your observations, okay? So here's rock number 1. If I'm looking at this, it looks like a bunch of rocks that just got smashed and stuck together. Alright, what do you guys think for number 1? Okay, where does that take you? So at this point, it might be a good time to pause the video, go to your rock classification key, and start going through the steps. Okay? Number 2, right here. I'm going to try and see if I can get it here. It is sparkly. I know the light, again, it's not doing a great job picking that up, but this one is sparkly. So that tells me that it's made of crystals, visible crystals. They all look to be the same color. Interesting. Alright, so that's number 2. Number 3. Yeah, this is kind of a boring rock, right? Not much going on there. I wouldn't even say there's layering going on there, even though it is kind of a flat rock. Just a very boring rock. Nothing special about it. All right. Okay, so that was number 3. Here's number 4. One of my favorite types of rocks. First thing I notice is, looks like we have multiple colors here, which probably tells me that we have multiple types of minerals in this rock. And it looks like there's stripes in rock 4. You see those stripes? We have black stripes and white stripes, like we're alternating colors here. Okay, so that's rock 4. You go ahead, again, pause, figure out what we got there. Number 5. First thing I notice, it's red, but you can see that there's definitely layers to this rock. Can you see kind of how there's little sheets, it looks like we have there, little sheets. And I want us to be careful with how we do this. When I put this under the light, it does look kind of shiny, little shiny. All right, so yeah, you can kind of see it there. It does shimmer a teeny tiny bit. So what would we say about number 5? Number 6. Okay, as I'm looking at this, this is pretty similar to the sample we went over as a class, at the beginning of this video. Okay, we have multiple. I don't want to say multiple crystals, but we have a lot of crystals, visible crystals here, and it looks, again, I know it's hard to pick up in the camera, they all look to be the same type of crystal. All right, they all look very similar. I'm not really seeing much layering going on there, but they all look to be like the same crystal here in number 6. So you guys go ahead and decide what we got there. Number 7. Number 7. Definitely crystals here, but you can see, right, when we look at it, looks like we have some blue crystals, some white crystals, some black crystals, some green ones. So there's crystals in here, but they all look to be different for the most part, okay? Different types of crystals. So let's figure out what type of rock is made up of different types of crystals. Okay, so number 7. Number 8. Okay, again, I'm noticing lots of crystals, but they're different colors. They look to be different types of crystals. So for rock 8, what might we call it? Right? Number 9, all-time favorite rock right here. Look how sparkly this rock is. Look at that. And one thing I really like about this rock too is it has a lot of layering to it. Okay? Again, tough to see on the camera, but there's actually a bunch of creases going on here. It looks like it's piled on top with, or piled on with like sheets. You can kind of tell. I know it's kind of tough. You gotta have to take my word for it that there is some type of layering going on here, and it's very sparkly. Looks to be made up of the same mineral. And actually, you might be able to even see right there, some of the minerals even came off on my finger. All right. Number 10. Number 10. Again, I see crystals, different colored crystals. So hopefully we're starting to get into a pattern at this point, right? We're starting to memorize, okay, when we have different types of crystals, what kind of rock do we have? All right. You go ahead and make your call for that one. Okay, number 10. Number 11. Wow, this rock is light. But when you look, first thing I notice when I look into this, looks like there's holes in there. See a lot of holes in this rock. That tells me that at one point gas was trying to escape this rock. It got trapped in it, and then once gas escaped this rock, it left a whole bunch of holes in there. Okay, so you go ahead and decide. Number 11, what type of rock we can call that? Number 12, it's going to be tough for you guys to feel this rock considering you're watching this on video, but this rock is actually very rough, and I would say it feels a lot like sandpaper. It feels a lot like sandpaper, and actually, when I rub it, you can actually rub some of the sand off on here. So it feels like sand, To be honest with you, it probably is made of sand. Wink, wink. So I guess I gave that one away. Better at least get one of these correct, guys. Come on now. Okay, number 13. Boring rock, really. Not many visible crystals, if any. Maybe a few here and there, but really not. For the most part, it's just a boring black rock. All right. Yeah, boring. All right, and then last one, number 14. Okay. Kind of looks like a tinted window for a car from the outside, right? Can't see into it, but you could tell it's a window. You can tell it's glassy, made of glass. What are we going to call rock number 14? All right. So that's it for this video. Hopefully we did well. Take your time on it. Go through each step, and we shouldn't have a problem. All right. Thanks, guys.